back again. I've got jotted down here as one of the things to talk about was that you mentioned that you don't want to believe. I believe it was everything that has been said in the past. And the comment that I would like to make on that is that that is your thought process. And so therefore you will not believe. You understand? There is another way of calling this, this thoughts create our reality, is that it is the law of attraction. The what you give out, you get back. The he gets what's coming to him, or she gets what's coming to her. These are all ways of expressing the same law of attraction, that whatever we think becomes our reality. And so I don't want to believe something, then you won't. And then sometimes confusion may come in, especially if there's nothing else that your brain has been able to replace this other belief with. But that's when my deepest encouragement goes out to everyone in this state of confusion, is that just to be quiet and to trust the messages that you are getting as an individual direct from the universal consciousness, especially when you're wondering about these kind of questions that seem so deep and unfathomable. You must release the desire for someone else's interpretation that you do not resonate with, and create your own by listening to those thoughts coming into your creation. But you must listen with no frustration or any other lack of calm, because that then also becomes your creation. You see how powerful our thoughts are. And the law of attraction, how powerful it is. When we are frustrated about not being able to understand, then that frustration goes out to the universal consciousness and comes showering right back down onto you. So be the strongest person that you can in marshaling your thoughts so that you are creating the reality that you want to experience, something like, instead of being frustrated that you don't understand or that you're trying to understand, simply say, I relax and I calmly listen to all, and I then understand all. I know it takes some practice, but if you can do something like this, you will find that much of the frustration falls away because you're not creating it anymore. You spoke of your reality and saying that, okay, so we are unsolid. And yes, this is scientifically a reality, as you so astutely pointed out, that the atom is mostly empty space. Empty is the way science says it. The way I would like to encourage you to believe is that it is in the particle phase, it is small compared to the wave phase of the pure potential of consciousness that fills each and every atom, each and every, as we get into the fractals that you spoke of, that this consciousness fills the atom. This consciousness then also fills everything that atoms are made out of, including us. This is the state of never being separated from this consciousness that is. And this is where we get into comments like, we are all one, or that I prefer, everything is one. Because we are all one has too much tendency to speak only about humans and the human conscious state. But everything is one incorporates just that, everything, and all of the consciousness that makes up everything, each and every atom, each and every smaller than atom, the electron, each and every neutrino, so far the smallest measurable mass in the human realm, 50,000 times smaller than an electron, but still consciousness. And for all we know, having a little bit of emptiness inside the neutrino that is filled with the fullness of the potential consciousness. Oh yes, the concept of being light beings. I love this concept because it shows, science has shown that light is both a wave and a particle. So the concept in the spiritual world of humans being light beings is also incorporating our wave-like state and our particle-like state. And this sensation of being a light being is not only light because of the brilliant white diamond light that is what I've been told through channeling that we are transferring into, transforming into. But it also gives the impression of being light and not heavy, in opposition to this very heavy human conscious state that we are experiencing in the particle phase. And I'd like to say that this light being state is a state that is very easy to understand when we look at things like our nourishment and where we gain nourishment from. Now, for most people, we gain it from the consumption of food. And I think in my own body, at least, I've experienced that when I used to, in the past, consume meat of any kind, I felt heavier. I felt weighed down. I felt, here. My body, for instance, does not digest beef very easily, and it sits for days inside there, or it used to, my body trying to deal with it. That is one of the reasons why I became more of a vegetarian. I won't say full vegetarian, except for now I am experimenting with not having any food, any meat at all. I used to take chicken because of a physical aspect in my own body. When I would eat chicken, the interior layer, surface of my mouth would be nice and smooth, would be undisturbed, no pockmarks, no tendency to want to bite it. And I then, in my consciousness, said, okay, chicken is okay, but I still wanted to become more of a light being. And so I am right now in a phase of experimenting with saying, my mouth is smooth as a baby's bottom without the need for animal protein, because it was described to me by my dentist that it was the lack of protein that was causing the pitfalls and everything in my inside of my mouth. So I am now in my thought process, in the process of creating a reality that I wish to experience, which is that I do not need any kind of animal protein, and that my body is perfectly formed and perfectly functioning for the moment only on vegetarian food. I was recently at the Congress, the Global Congress of Spiritual Scientists in Bangalore, India. And there is a woman who lives in Australia and who is the president of this Congress named Jasmuheen. And one of the major things that Jasmuheen teaches is chronic nourishment. This is the aspect of taking nourishment for our physical human body simply directly from the universe. Chronic nourishment is tuning into your connection with the consciousness that is and invoking the law of attraction that it will create in you, or that you will create out of it is a better way of saying it. Nourishment for your body that is in complete balance with the needs of the physical human body. This is what chronic nourishment is. And the point that I'm leading up to, why I've brought Jasmuheen and her chronic nourishment into this discussion, is that these light beings that we truly are, this state of pure conscious potential that is the consciousness that is, cannot fully experience it if we are in any form of a heavy body state, whether we're eating animal protein or whether we are eating vegetarian only, raw food only, little bit better than vegetarian. All of these are still less than the pure chronic nourishment that is the only type of nourishment that would be able to be experienced as a light body. I realized this when I was at the conference. I didn't have a chance to speak to Jasmuheen about it, but those are my impressions of nourishment and her very successful teachings about chronic nourishment. These are concepts that are somewhat difficult for people to want to even believe or want to even try. And that, I must say, is perfectly okay. Remember that every experience that you have is what you have chosen to experience. And no one can say that being a meat eater or being a vegetarian or being a raw food eater or being a chronic nourisher is better than all of the rest. It is what you wish to experience as your creation that is the best one for you. Hold on to that very basic truth, and you will then create it in your reality for you alone to experience.